What's up, Men's Physique fans, and welcome back to another video. I am just getting back from Las Vegas, where I spent the entire weekend immersed in all things Olympia. And guys, we have a lot to talk about. Ryan Terry is back on top. Bilal and Brandon Hendrickson still don't like each other, and we have a new rising star in the men's physique division. We have the Hurricane Pro this weekend, and also an IFBB Pro gets married in Las Vegas. Yeah, it's safe to say we have a lot to talk about, but I want you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy this video.
No, they want to take it off from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look.
Just because the Olympia is done does not mean the show is over. In fact, we are just getting started. We have the Hurricane Pro taking place this weekend in St. Pete, Florida, and it's safe to say with the pressure of the new qualification system lingering, we have some hitters stepping up to the plate. Let's pull up the competitors list and highlight some of the most notable names that will be going head to head, starting off with who I believe is the dark horse of this show in Jamal Everett. Now, when we talk about the Sasquatch Pro, there's only two names that we bring up. Ben Quill, right, the rising star in the men's physique division, and of course Jeremy Buendia, who a lot of people have as their GOAT in the men's physique division. But there was a name who shocked a lot of people that actually a lot of people outside of the sport probably weren't even paying a close attention to, and that was Jamal Everett, placing third place behind two dogs. And now we have an opportunity to see him get back on stage after a lot of momentum gathered at that Sasquatch show and see what he can do here in Hurricane. Jamal is big. He is conditioned and he is balanced from front to back. He has a lot of density. And again, he is known for bringing in that conditioning. If he can continue to do what he's done at the Sasquatch Pro, I'm telling you guys right now, he's going to be a name you have to keep a close eye out for. He will be in that first call out. That is guaranteed. And next up on the list, we have Ben Quill, the hometown king, jumping right back into it. He is not slowing down. First, it was the Sasquatch Pro. Then it was the Olympia, and now it is Hurricane. Ben is looking to do what he has done over the last 2 years, which is get an early Olympia qualification. On paper, Ben Quill is the favorite going into the show. Not only just because he is the current 11th ranked men's physique athlete in the world, not only is this because he is just a hop skipping away from the actual venue, so he's going to have home court advantage, but also he has already proven to beat everybody on this list. So with all of that being said, this is Ben Quill's show to win or to lose. But are there any Olympians who can potentially give Ben a run for the money? We have Emil Walker, a multi-time Olympian, a multi-time show winner, looking to come wreck the party. Now, Emil has a great physique. Not only is he a multi-time Olympian for a reason, but he has a lot of standout attributes. His back density through the roof. His conditioning typically is where it needs to be, and his midsection detail is just insane. I've never seen such depth in abs before. Like, this guy is absolutely insane, like crazy muscle groups, but he did not nail it at the Olympia. Now, can one more week be enough time to fix the conditioning aspect, to nail that peak? I think so. I don't think we've seen the best of Emil Walker yet this season. I think here at Hurricane is the best opportunity for him to do so. And at minimum, even if he cannot beat Ben Quill, he can get some points going into the 2026 season. And last but certainly not least, the guy who I believe who can give everybody a run for their money on this list is none other than a multi-time Olympian, a multi-time show winner, and a coming off of a third call out at the Olympia. Like, let that sink in. Like, this isn't a back of the pack guy. This is a guy who is still in the conversation, top 20-ish in the world in Drew Collin. We all talk about Drew's front shot, Drew's conditioning, and we know he's not going to have the back that Ben Quill will have, or even Emil Walker. But the real question is, what package is Drew going to bring? Is he going to go for the size game and just come in maxed out full once he actually hits the weight cap? From what I've heard on the last episode of Men's Physique Radio, he is already under his weight cap, which he has struggled time and time again in that like first prep. You know, like when you're first prepping, it's always harder to get lean, but kind of when you're after done the first show, it's a lot easier. Like, this can be a completely reinvention of Drew's physique in literally just 1 week. We have seen Drew get better and better after show after show. And there was so much room before Toronto and the Olympia that, you know, that's tried and true method isn't really tested until now, right? You have an opportunity to really see whether or not he can kind of get some momentum off the first peak and then maximize it for the second peak. Because even though Drew looked absolutely amazing and he also showed a lot of new muscle, there was very clear room for improvements in his physique. And now we have an opportunity to see what he can do just 1 week later. It's safe to say the Hurricane Pro is going to be a movie. Though there were some breakouts and even some fallouts, for the most part, the first call out at the Olympia, it was pretty much as expected, but the same cannot be said about the second call outs. So let's quickly break down your top 8 through 15th ranked men's physique athletes currently in the world, starting off with your 15th ranked men's physique athlete in Carlos Ocran, falling from 8th place now to 15th place. And the thing is, I don't necessarily think Carlos Ocran was off. I thought he was full, he looked pretty conditioned. To me, this is just the men's physique division slightly going in a different direction, because Carlos does have a very unique physique, and he also has a small waist, wide shoulders. He has, decent conditioning and a crazy back. I just don't know if the men's physique division is currently rewarding that uniqueness, at least as of now. I mean, again, the men's physique division changes so much and the judging changes so drastically year to year that this is the only thing I can really think of. When I saw him standing on stage, maybe he didn't necessarily have the same pop as he traditionally has, but I do not think he was off by any means. But nonetheless, coming in at 15th place, Carlos Ocran brought a great package. But like we said, he's one of those physiques where you just got to pay close attention to, and the judges will kind of just dictate whether or not he's going to be the look that's starting to get rewarded or not. And coming in at 14th place is the pride of Indonesia in Isaiah Kesik. Guys, this was a shock of the show for a few reasons. Isaiah Kesik is not the biggest guy on stage. He doesn't carry the most density. He doesn't have a wow factor. And not to mention, he is probably one of the smallest guys on stage. But what he does do really well, he controls his variables. Even though he doesn't have a lot of muscle, the muscle that he did have was full. And even though he's not the biggest guy on stage, he came in inside out peeled. And that peak really allowed him to stand out. If you are a smaller guy in the men's physique division and you have aspirations of stepping on the Olympia stage, this is a guy you want to look up to. This is a physique that you can almost mold your own physique after, right? Coming in condition, controlling your posing variable, and trying your best to maximize the muscle that you do have. There's a lot of room for Isaiah to move up. There's tons of room for him to move up. Why? Because his frame is not even close to built, but yet and still he's currently your 14th ranked men's physique athlete. This is a guy you have to keep an eye out for, because he's only going to get better and better, and he has more than enough room to do so. And coming in at 13th place, truly, guys, I want you guys to understand this, the words that are coming out of my mouth, because I don't know how else to express this. This, to me, was probably the second biggest shock of the entire show. The first was our 6th place finisher, who we'll highlight here in a little bit. But your 13th ranked finisher is a guy who hasn't sniffed a first, second, or even third call out since he's been stepping on the Olympia stage. He's a guy who's competed for years, mainly internationally, and has really, outside of his massive social media presence, in the world of bodybuilding, is not really well known. Even in the sport of men's physique, he's not that well known until now. The most conditioned guy on stage, maybe outside the top 2. Talk about a perfect peak. Talk about making improvements in your offseason. That's Mauro Freire. Guys, I'm telling you guys right now, Mauro is here. I've never seen Mauro ever look like this in my life, and I've been paying close attention to him. The fullness was nailed, the detail, the separation. He always came in condition, but this time it looked different. It's the texture of the skin. It's the muscle fullness pushing back against the skin. Everything was on point for Mauro. I'm telling you guys, your current 13th ranked men's physique athlete in the world, you have to keep an eye out for. He will be moving up at the Olympia next year. I'm telling you, balance from front to back, crazy full, crazy condition, dangerous. And your current 12th ranked men's physique athlete is none other than Ben Quill. Now, Ben is coming off of a 9th place finish. So anything less than 9th place or even 8th place is likely nothing that he wanted to walk away from this year's Olympia with. But you also have to put things in perspective, right? There's a lot more competitive athletes at the top who are competing this year that weren't competing last year. So the fact that Ben really fell 2 spots back, and with those 2 added names, the reality is it's not like it's not like his physique isn't getting rewarded for improvements. It's just that other guys have also improved, or there's new guys who have already kind of been in that conversation at the top, right? So again, Ben has probably the most room out of anybody damn near at the Olympia to continue to move up. And a guy who probably needs the least improvements in order to kind of continue to move up, right? You have to understand, Ben has almost like 10 pounds until he's actually at his weight cap. I can guarantee you there's almost every guy in front of him is either maxed out at the weight cap or within a couple pounds of it. Ben is 10 pounds. So he has more wiggle room than most people to truly put on quality tissue and be a different bodybuilder come next year. And that's what I expect him to do. Why? Because he just came off of a last season of he doing just that. So Ben Quill, he's going to be dangerous. And with his package he brought here, I don't think it was off. I just truly think the other guys who were in front of him, maybe not all of them, but some of the guys who were in front of him just ended up being better on that day. You know, it's hard to juggle it. You know, I could have put in Ben a little bit higher, but that also could be my own biasness from actually being friends with him. But like I said, I thought Ben looked great. I thought he looked full. I thought he was conditioned. I just think they need a little bit more pop in order to kind of stand out under those lights. And coming in at 11th place, and probably one of the biggest shocks of the entire show, in Emmanuel Hunter. Now, Emmanuel is coming from 4th place down to 11th place. And going into this year's Olympia, there was a lot of talk about people making their predictions, and people did have Emmanuel dropping just because of the new names added, just like we talked about for Ben Quill. But I don't think anybody had him dropping this far out of the top 10, which means he didn't even make it back for finals after 2 years of being consistently in that top 4 conversation. Now, the reality was this was not the best version of Emmanuel Hunter by a mile. Again, it could have been stress, you know, cortisol. It could have been a bad peak, you know, too much food, whatever it might have been. He looked like he spilled. And he started to sweat a lot. And there was like almost multiple different versions of Emmanuel all within like those 8 minutes he was posing on stage. And I just really think that there was a lot of pressure going into this year's Olympia. You know, and I don't know necessarily what it is. I'm not going to sit here and try to guess it, but you can look like he was wearing it a little bit. Again, I don't see Emmanuel Hunter sweat like that. I don't see him not have that traditional pop or, you know, have that conditioning. He might not have a lot of detail, but typically he is peeled, especially at the Olympia. Even at the Tampa Pro earlier this year, I thought he even looked better. But like I said, Emmanuel Hunter was not the best version of himself. He's still 11th in the world, but nonetheless, that's what we talk about, having a high ceiling, but also a low floor. You can be 4th in the world one day and 11th the next day, maybe even lower. But at the same time, Emmanuel Hunter has all the time in the world to improve. Guy is looking absolutely amazing. He has the balance from front to back. He has the density. He just needs to nail that peak. And when he does, one of the most dangerous guys in the men's physique division. And coming in at 10th place is none other than Vitor Chavez. After placing 7th place last year, like we talked about, when it comes to making improvements, not only in your physique do you want to make improvements, but in placings you want to make improvements. And even though he brought a much improved package, sometimes that doesn't necessarily translate to the placings. Now, when it comes to Vitor Chavez, I do believe this is one of the best versions of him. I thought his midsection was dialed. I thought his conditioning was on point, but most importantly, I think his structure was being manipulated through his posing in ways that I've never seen before. His shoulder to waist ratio was absolutely phenomenal, and I've never seen that version of Vitor Chavez ever in my life. So if he can continue to do what he's been proven to do over these last couple of years, is just simply improve on the back density, continue to control your posing the way that you have, add a little bit more thickness to the shoulders and chest, I just don't see a world where Vitor Chavez just doesn't continue to move up. He has only shown that in his career outside of this one show. But all I know is this: Vitor is not scared of the big shows. Vitor will stand on stage with some of the guys who've already beaten him here at the Olympia, and I can promise you this, he's going to be coming for blood. And coming in at 9th place is none other than Corey Morris. Now, truly, I was a little shocked about this, but I also can understand it from a certain perspective. Now, let me explain. When I saw Corey walk out on stage, guys, my jaw dropped. I have never seen Corey look that big. There was no doubt that he was the biggest and most dense guy on the men's physique stage. No question. Guys, he was bursting out of his skin. He was up 9 pounds of muscle from the last time he stepped on stage. Let that sink in. I was sitting right behind his significant other. I was sitting right next to his friends, and we were talking about it. And I was like, there's no world. Corey Morris, 9 pounds up. That doesn't even make logical sense. It makes no sense. Why? Unless it all went to his legs. It made no sense. But then when I saw him walk out, I was like, oh, there it is. It was insane. But at the same time, Maybe that's what hurt him. Because last year, Corey Morris was 6th, and he downsized dramatically compared to previous packages he brought before that package. But now he completely took a different approach, trying to completely throw everybody off with a massive wow factor. And it worked in one aspect, but when it comes to the judging, the size, the proportion, maybe the judges looked at it and said, that is not men's physique. And I'm really curious. He's the one guy who I'm really curious to know what feedback he got. Because yes, he definitely took a different approach. He came in maxed out. And maybe that's not what the judges want to see. But are you saying that he's limited in terms of not being able to jump to 5th place, 4th place, so on and so forth? Because over the last couple of years, he's been in that 6th to 7th place spot. And that's when he brought the package they wanted to bring, the downsized version of him. So is he going to be stuck forever in his career? That's my question. But Corey Morris looking big as hell. And I'm telling you guys, Corey Morris is going to be a problem. No matter what show that he does, Corey Morris will likely be the favorite, no matter who is showing up. And coming in at 8th place again is none other than Jeremy Buendia. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Jeremy placing 8th and how it was a gift and, it's his last ride and so on and so forth. That's not the angle here I want to talk about at all. Guys, Jeremy Buendia will not be stepping on a men's physique stage, let alone a bodybuilding stage ever again. He not only announced his retirement going into this season, but he confirmed it following the Olympia. This will be the last time we've ever seen Jeremy Buendia step on stage. And I'm going to simply say this. As a fan of Jeremy Buendia, as a fan of the men's physique division, as somebody who's helped me get into the men's physique division in itself, Jeremy Buendia was a treasure to this division. Even though a lot of us have expectations of Jeremy going into this, the one thing I feel like that I noticed in Jeremy more than ever this year was he only focused on the expectation that he put on himself. And when he walked off that stage and he had a moment where he stopped and he looked at the crowd, I felt that one. I could only imagine what's going on in his head at that moment. 4 titles, years and years and years of commitment to this sport. And that was the last moment he'd be on that stage. So Jeremy Buendia brought an improved package. I don't care what nobody says, the back was significantly improved. And yes, I can agree. There's some placings that were behind him that could have been in front of him, but at the end of the day, the judges did their job and Jeremy Buendia will no longer be on a men's physique stage. So I'm going to choose to celebrate the fact that Jeremy Buendia is a GOAT of men's physique, one of the GOATs of men's physique, and I appreciate him more than probably anybody in the men's physique division. Now that the 2025 competition season is over, if you're looking to put on some quality tissue going into the 2026 season, I am now taking on online coaching clients. All you guys have to do is click the link in my bio. I can promise you this, it will not be easy, but I can guarantee you it will be worth it. I'm gonna help you raise your standards. I'm not gonna give you a cookie cutter bullshit plan. I will prioritize communication, and I can promise you your best version of yourself is to come. Make sure you click the link in my bio. We're just gonna get right into it. Ryan Terry is officially your 3-time men's physique and your current 2025 Mr. Olympia champion. Damn. This has been a crazy year leading up in a lot of anticipation to this year's Olympia, and it's safe to say it delivered. Bilal looked absolutely amazing. Brandon Hendrickson is back, but Ryan Terry still reigns supreme. Now, Ryan Terry truly, to me, is going to hold the title as long as he wants to hold the title. But there's only one person who can beat Ryan Terry, and that is Ryan Terry. If you can take a look at Ryan Terry when he was at prejudging, it's safe to say this might have just been the best version of Ryan we've ever seen. Definitely the best conditioning, best his midsection has looked compared to previous years. His back looked great, back looked conditioned. His chest was decently full. I think that's the one area that could have been a little bit fuller, but overall, I do think he absolutely delivered at his prejudging package. And guys, can we just take a second? Can we just take a fucking second to realize that he was wearing Manifest on the Olympia stage? I feel like a kid even just talking about it right here. You guys don't understand. When he walked out, before he walked out, I had no idea. I had no idea he was planning to wear Manifest at all. And then he just popped up in it and I lost my mind. A few months ago, I sent him a few pairs. I said, hey, let us know what you think. I knew that the chance of him wearing them on any stage is none, just because he owns his own board shirt company and he also works with Gymshark, and they were creating a custom pair for him. So when we sent it to him, it was just like, hey, we would love feedback from, who I believe is now the GOAT of men's physique. But nonetheless, when he got him and shot me back feedback and said, I fucking love these, yada, 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 sent me a multi-minute voice message just expressing gratitude and also how much he loved the design and loved the fit. And I was just in awe. I was just happy with that, knowing that there's a product out there that the champion also deems as a high quality product. Somebody who also owns a board short company and also been around a lot of other different materials just in the space that he's in. He appreciated ours. So much so that on his biggest day of his life, he walks out on the Olympia stage in manifest shorts. And the only thing that I can justify for him doing that is the fact that he trusted the product. He believed that the product was the best for him, and he did it. Okay, that was a little side note, but back to what we were talking about. But holy shit, Ryan Terry wearing manifest, absolutely insane. But nonetheless, this is a version now of Ryan Terry at finals. And no, it's not because of the shorts. Let me stop you there. But you can clearly see that this is two different versions of Ryan, right? Like, yes, granted, different lighting. It's at a different venue. It's a handful of hours separated. But guys, you can clearly see through all of the bullshit, the edits and all that, that this is two completely different versions of Ryan Terry. So he came in worse at finals. He came in lights out at prejudging. The only person who's going to be able to beat Ryan is the guy who came in at finals, Ryan. So if he does not fine tune and make sure that he peaks in the way that we have seen him do it, even though it's been slightly inconsistent, 2023, he won the Olympia, not at his best, did not peak 100%, right? He's already come in on Men's Physique Radio and openly talked about that. Prejudging here at the 2025 Olympia, absolutely nailed it. Lights out, best Ryan Terry we've ever seen, arguably. And now at finals, a few hours later, not so much. You know, what did he do in between prejudging finals? We don't know, but all I know is this. You can't miss like that with Ali Bilal. Because if Ali Bilal brought what he brought at finals at prejudging, and then Ryan Terry also brought that off package at finals, meanwhile Ali Bilal was still on, it could have been a different conversation. It could have been. But all I do know is this. Ryan Terry is unbeatable unless he beats himself. But yet and still, Ryan Terry, your three-time champion, rockin' manifest, and also probably the best ambassador for the men's physique division at this time. There's no doubt that not only is he a great family man, a businessman, he's well-spoken, he's truly passionate. This is the champion that men's physique needs. And I couldn't be happier. And we cannot forget the shock of the show. Jumping from 11th place last year at the Olympia, but still relevantly unknown. And that's the craziest part. Like, if you're not in that top conversation, people are almost like, don't pay attention. You know, that's why if you hear me say, I always say 15th ranked men's physique athlete, 12th, it doesn't matter because you are ranked in the world and that's wild. But nonetheless, you're last year's 11th ranked men's physique athlete, now jumping to 6th. And it's not even the jump, it's the physique. Guys, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try. His last name is He. I'm just going to call him because he is here. This is the craziest physique at the Olympia in 2025. What the fuck did we just see? What is this? Look at this chest fullness. Look at this back density. Look at these shoulders. Look at this conditioning. Everything polished. This man is here, and he's him. I'm telling you, one of my favorite physiques in the men's physique division right now. And I have to go against this motherfucker. Think about, like, this guy he has everything. I mean, truly, he's not really missing anything. He has the density in the right places. He's not too big. He's not too small. You know, I stood next to him. I met him after the Olympia, and he's not like the biggest guy. He doesn't take up tons of room, but the way that his muscle inserts into his like fucking body, it just looks like a cartoon character. It's almost like a Corey Morris, but like more streamlined. It's insane. Like, this guy has a crazy impressive physique. He's going to be a guy who's moving up. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you guys right now. Pay very close attention to him. I know we all going to now, right? He's on everybody's radar now. But I'm telling you, this is going to be a guy who can be that in that 4th place spot next year. I do still think the top 3 is going to be locked down. I still do. But this is a guy who can move into that 4th place spot. Why? Because he has no weaknesses. Like, not one muscle group on him is his weakness. Maybe legs, maybe. But our 4th ranked men's physique athlete over the last 2 years didn't have the biggest legs either. I'm telling you guys, he is him, and he's here. Can we take a quick second to talk about the battle inside the bigger war of what was the Olympia? You know, the Ali Bilal versus Brandon Hendrickson, because I know you guys saw the press conference. And if you didn't, let me refresh your memory.
What do you expect? He needs the validation from the people. He needs the validation from the people. That's why he did something like this. I'll show you how to be a humble champion. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me, okay? Respect that. Don't touch it.
So I watched this press conference live, and when I saw them put Brandon Hendrickson next to Ali Bilal, I knew it was going to be fireworks immediately. But did you guys hear the way Brandon said, Okay. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But there was some more that rolled out after. It wasn't just that surface level stuff. This was some personal stuff that we don't even need to get into that then manifested in front of the cameras, which you never like to see. But in our sake, it definitely added for some more entertainment. But nonetheless, Ali Bilal came out on top, and it was a very close battle. The only difference between Ali Bilal and Brandon Hendrickson was 1 point. 1 point. And then we have to say this might have just been one of the best versions of Brandon Hendrickson. His back looked so damn good. I have not seen his back ever look like that before. And also the signature conditioning and fullness was on point. But when it comes to Ali, it was the pop. It was the conditioning, the detail. It really stood out. Not to mention, he also improved his back. I think their backs were very close to each other. I think their fronts were very close to each other. It really just comes down to what you prefer. That's exactly why the judges were split on this decision. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you think Brandon actually won that battle? Or do you think Ali Bilal got what he deserved? And before we get out of here, guys, originally I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I have to. Like, this makes me feel good, and hopefully it makes you guys feel good too. Emmanuel Costa, right after the Olympia in Las Vegas, has an Elvis Presley wedding. I absolutely love this. Again, Emmanuel Costa is like not even from this country, so like imagining him in this position with maybe knowing the cultural, like I don't know if he knows like what Vegas is for. Like a lot of people go to Vegas, they get married, you know, they do the whole Elvis thing. Like I just imagine somebody like a foreigner coming to our country to do that, and Vegas is absolutely amazing. But one thing I will say about them, I had an opportunity to see them, not necessarily meet them. I met Emmanuel, didn't necessarily meet his now fiance, but you could tell how much love that she and he had for each other. It was absolutely amazing. After the Arnold Classic, after he got 4th place, shocked the world, put him on the map, he came out and he was just in such like, you can say he was in love. So the fact that you're seeing somebody who has a crazy physique, a great guy, also happy off the stage, we just have to highlight that, man. Congratulations to you two. Wish you guys and pray for you guys nothing but happiness in your future. And now that you guys are caught up on all things men's physique, I want to take a quick second to thank each and every single one of you guys for the consistent love and support on this channel. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button, man. We're growing. 18.4. My goal to get to 25,000 subscribers, guys. Let's move the needle. Make sure you click the subscribe button, turn on the post notification bell. If you want to be notified at every new upload, make sure you click the post notification bell. And not to mention, if you need some board shorts, Manifest Competition Wear got you. Wear the shorts trusted by your champion, but not just your champion. Andre Dayu, Ben Quill, Victor Ramirez, Aaron Banks, you name it. It's crazy, man. Manifest is taking over and it's for a reason. Don't be late to the party. We got you.